Hello Caleb, welcome to This is England. I'm delighted to welcome you again because you've been there already. This year we have a wonderful documentary film that you did, which is called The Influence of Pong is Big. Very unusual title for a documentary. And can you explain the title? Can you tell us about the subject of this documentary film? And then we'll talk about the making of, etc.
Absolutely, yeah. So thank you for having me again. The film is about a table tennis club in the city of Brighton, which is where I grew up and where I'm from. And the club is quite an amazing place because it caters to people from all different walks of life, different backgrounds. And I would say one of the main subjects of the film is a coach called Wen Wei-zhu, who is a Chinese coach. He's sort of an older man. He's a bit like a sort of father figure to a lot of the children in the club, and everyone kind of loves him. And within the film, he is able to speak in his native language of Chinese Mandarin, which is really interesting because people within the club haven't really had an opportunity to hear him speak in his own language. His English isn't the best. So in the film, it was kind of making something that felt new to people who didn't know the club, but also felt new to people from within the club. Right. And the title of the film comes from something that he says, which is that the influence of ping pong is big. Sure.
It's interesting what you say about doing this film for people who didn't know at all the existence of this club, and also for the people within the club. So, because it looks like some kind of very big family, and as you said, from different walks of life, a lot of people suffering from handicaps, from social problems too. So it looks like a club which is very inclusive, and of course I did my job and trying to see what I could find about it, and I realized that it had become very famous. Was it thanks to your documentary, or what were the reasons for that?
No, I can't take the credit. So the club's been going for about 20 years, and I've been involved for about 10 years.
All right.
But in that time that I've been involved, like, it has just come on so much, and the profile of the club has increased a huge amount, but that's completely down to the amazing work that they're doing every single day. I try and do my bit by promoting them, but ultimately you have to have the subject there, and it's, yeah, like you say, it is like a big family.
Yeah, so there's a wonderful article, I think it was in the Times, maybe Sunday Times, with beautiful pictures too in it, and so yeah, it has become very famous. And of course there is this young girl who's just reached the semi-final. Well, she's a bronze medalist in the Paralympics in Paris in 2024, and you can see that when they practice with the other players, the intensity of the game, and at the same time how the feeling varies between the people, the laughter very often when they, and so it feels as if you were playing with people from your relatives when you play on holidays, but at the same time there is a very high level, technical level. So it's really interesting to see that. So you are a member of the club, you are a trustee, and the official photographer, I think. And so how did you join that club? What made you join it?
I joined because I wanted to make a film in the first place, but I kind of realised that I had to get involved and start playing myself. And yeah, I just never wanted to leave because it was such a great place, and also because, you know, I have made various films about the club, but sort of small things for them to promote the club. But it kind of has felt like it's all been leading up to a bigger project like this one. So yeah, it's just, there's never a shortage of stories to tell from within there.
Yeah, true, yeah, you can see that. And the people in it, I mean, there are too many people to talk about, of course, but it's very interesting because you managed to capture, in a few seconds, you can imagine the background of a few of the people, not characters, but they look like characters to me. So it's very, very interesting to grasp the intensity of humanity you've got in a club like this, and I think you did it very well. So you are part. I mean, you founded a production company, 2018.
I think so, yeah.
That intends to help non-profit organizations to get known so that they can get better funding and get known and show what they're doing. So was this documentary a part of that project, or as you said before, you had other films that you did to promote the club that were more based on your work as a producer in a production company?
I suppose with this one it kind of felt a bit more like an artistic project because I mean I committed so much time into making this film just because it was something that I felt I really wanted. I just wanted that film to be made, especially to capture Wenwei and his story. But at the same time, I think it is something that can be used as a tool by the club to promote themselves, as with any of the films that are made within Stories of Note.
All right. Can you tell us about the quality of the image when you watch the film? There is that kind of vintage-like thing that I thought that we were in the 1970s or 80s watching it.
Yeah, so to begin with, that was kind of a practical choice because the entire film is shot within one room.
Yep.
And I was slightly conscious that the whole thing might become a bit monotonous and start looking the same. So I used an old Super 8 camera with Super 8 film. It's all real Super 8, it's not an effect. Mm-hmm. And that was done so that it would sort of provide some different textures within the film. But after shooting a couple of rolls, what I found was that it kind of has this nostalgic feel to it. It does look and feel like it could be something from the 70s. And I think that lines up quite nicely with table tennis because it's quite a nostalgic game. People always say, oh, I played it as a child, or, I played it when I was younger. And yeah, what I like about that footage is that it does feel like it really could have been shot, 50 years ago.
Yeah, true.
So yeah.
Yeah, and the relationship there is between the different people there. It brought back memories, personally, about the kind of relationship you had in villages in the past. People of different conditions laughing together and doing things together just on a single purpose, and then getting back to their lives. So,
absolutely, yeah. And it's so feels so rare now to find something like that. But within that space, it's like so many people get so much out of it, and it's an amazing thing.
Yeah. And I was quite surprised that you could see that in Brighton, because Brighton has a reputation for being kind of London on sea, and so it looks so, humble and simple.
Yeah.
That it has a very surprising presence.
I think what's quite interesting about it as a place is that I don't think it was set up with any grand ambitions. Like, they weren't aiming to produce Paralympians, Olympians, to produce world-class players, but through bringing people in and just trying to get them to enjoy the game, it's kind of happening naturally, which is kind of the best way for it to be, because even if people don't succeed in terms of, becoming a professional player, then they still get so much out of it regardless.
Yeah, true. Yeah, the purpose of the club looks to be really have a community of people just live together, and that's very, you can see it through your film without any problem. That's what I like in it. So you are also a photographer, as I said, and I wondered this choice that you make at times between using photography or films to express things. Is it due to the subject that you have in front of you that you feel, oh, this is more suitable with photos or with a film? So what makes you decide which angle you will choose to express yourself?
I think if there's something that I'm interested in enough to want to take photos of it, I probably want to make a film about it as well. But to make a film, it requires so much more time from the people that you're working with. So it's kind of, if I can build up that trust and create that relationship and, get myself into a position where they're happy to be within a film, then I'll definitely try and do that. But yeah, both mediums are great in different ways. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if I can do either, then I'm happy.
Yeah. But you don't force yourself to join all the clubs you want to shoot films about, because, as you said, you joined the club because you wanted to make a film out of it. Because is it the way you do it? Is it to get inside things, because usually when you film, you're outside and you have an external look on what's going on.
Yeah.
But your way is to get inside things, to film from inside.
I think so. I think that's the best. I mean, I always want to make sure that I'm making something that the people within the film are happy with. You know, last time I was here, I had made Time and Tide, which was the film about the people shoveling coal, and they said that they, you know, had people try to make films about them before, and they just driven away. They didn't want to be a part of that. So, I guess in some ways it feels like another challenge in itself to, you know, befriend these people and get to know them and get them to understand the value of making the film, because any of these films, it's capturing like a moment in time, and I think it's important to have that, and then to have that, you know, it's once the film's made, you've got that for forever.
Yeah, true. And well, if you talk about Time and Tide, we learned here at least that very weird occupation of, you know, getting coal from the sea, which is unusual, to say the least. And so here we've got a table tennis club, which is something which is, so now with Olympic Games we've got a couple of French players now who are quite good, so it gets back into fashion, I would say. But it's as if you were focusing on things that are either dying or from the past, and so is it something that you're fascinated with, or? I
think so, and not even in a conscious way, but I guess there is a sense that, you know, if these things aren't preserved, then they'll just be gone. And yeah, I kind of feel in some ways like a responsibility to do it, I guess. And there's always a part of me as well that thinks, well, someone else might get there first, and I really want to be the one to make that film.
All right. So, what do you have in mind for the months to come in terms of
what to make next?
Without saying too much, maybe. But
I don't know. Yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, you can't really push it. You just have to wait for the right thing to come along, and I'm hoping that will.
So you must be very busy with your production company anyway. So what amount of time do you give yourself for artistic projects?
I mean, if a project comes along, then I'll devote as much time as I possibly can. I mean, the film, The Influence of Ping Pong is Big, was shot over about 3 months, so not even very long, but it was like most days filming, I mean, accruing so much footage just for a 10-minute film.
Editing was wrong.
Yeah.
All right. And so, so the fact is, you can't make money out of short films, I mean, artistic short films. So it's more for the art, I would say. So in terms of production, how does it work? I mean, do you balance it with the money you make with your commercial films? Or?
I don't really make any money out of documentaries. And I think there was a time where I thought that might be possible, but I would rather just commit the time to making a film than trying to chase money to fund a film, because it just takes so long. But I think that what I'm realizing over time is that, you know, making a film is an act of love, and it's kind of like an act of resistance, you know, because so much of what is produced now is kind of vapid short form stuff that just disappears. But to put time into making a short film that really not that many people see, like it goes to some festivals and then it ends up online, but like compared to, by most people's standards, not that many people are going to see the film. But for people that do, it's kind of putting something out into the world that says, you know, this is important, I think you should give it your time.
Yeah, and you know, your film is shown to students, and we've got quite a huge crowd of students, and my students watched it, and they loved it. And I had a student said, that's my favorite film. I said, why? I said, it's about ping pong. I love ping pong. I said, okay, and what else? It's about people, he said. I said, exactly. So I think that's the best thing you can say about your film.
And I think that quite often now, I don't know if maybe this is just other people generally, or this is people feel the need to make things that are high in drama or are quite heavy in the subject matter, but I just think I don't really want to watch those films. I mean, there's a place for those films, you know, but on the whole, I want to know what's happening in the world that makes me feel lighter, makes me feel better. So I guess in some ways I feel like I need to do my bit and put those stories out there.
Yeah, because if we get back to Time and Tide, you've got this relationship between those two people. I mean, once again, I say characters because they look larger than life. You know, when you watch them talk, and it's exactly the same in this table tennis club. I mean, when you have the exchange between those people, I mean, they look as if you had written the dialogues at times. You know, and you feel that they really enjoy themselves being together. And yeah, the feeling is very good.
Good.
So
I'm glad you think
I
so.
advise everyone. I mean, it's screened this evening, okay, here in Rouen. So I'm sure that people will love it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.